Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again for the BFNL Netball Show here on the BFL website. Great to be joining you once again. I'm Sean Kelly. This is Matt Wiltshire. Matt, welcome back, mate.
Great to be back on the screen, mate, for another exciting netball show.
And, of course, just plaudits left, right and centre last week after bringing the netball show back to the hearts and the minds of the viewers. Even had viewers from far and wide last week. I heard we had a viewer from Sri Lanka tune in for the whole 35 minutes of the show last week.
Yeah, young Matty Shaw says over the Australian cricket team at the moment.
Yes.
Let me know if you watched the whole show from Sri Lanka last
finish
week. So he's obviously having a great time over in Sri Lanka watching the netball show. So good shout out to you there, Matty.
It doesn't give much love for the nightlife out in Sri Lanka at the moment, does it? If you're sitting there watching us, if you're watching us vlogs, we're not going to go for 35 minutes this week, though. We're going to jump straight in to the action for another week as I try and get rid of the hiccups. And we're going to talk about the game between Ballarat and Bacchus Marsh, played at Alfreton Oval last weekend, and it was Bacchus Marsh saluting for the first time this season, getting themselves over the line, defeating Ballarat 39-32. Susie Delmo-Watson, 32 goals as we get an interruption in the studio from Bacchus Marsh. Abby Wiltshire, 10 goals for Ballarat, and Alan Words, 10 as well, leading the scoring. Abby Wiltshire, Alan Bowman and Jamie Matheson, the best players for the Swannies. Bacchus Marsh, though, didn't name their best players, but I had a chat to their coach. Not only can we name their best players, we can name a Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week coming out of Bacchus Marsh as well. Jacinta Reed doing an absolutely fantastic job this year for Bacchus Marsh as a wing defence, wing attack kind of player who's been playing in goals in recent weeks. Had a chat to Frank. She's been absolutely dominating. She's our Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week for round 8. Congratulations to you, Jacinta, and congratulations on the Cobras for their first win for the season.
Yeah, no, good couple of wins there for the Cobras, obviously. Jacinta winning the award and also getting their first 4 points for the year, which is a fantastic result. And the hopefully the girls take that winning experience and take it into a few more games for the rest of the year, and they can hopefully get a couple more wins on the board. But all credit to Ballarat. They just had a sort of a not great first half, you'd say, and come back in the second half to actually beat the Cobras in the second half. But unfortunately, the first half really did let them down. But good to see Abby hopping with the turner in there for Ballarat, the younger sister, scoring 10 goals in the last half. So maybe she might be a permanent shooter from now on.
Could be, because that's when obviously the change in the game for Ballarat came, when she went from defence into goals. They were getting pants before she went down there. Exactly. All of a sudden she stabilised things.
Yeah, look out. Didn't know she was a shooter, but looks like she is.
No, she's doing well. And excuse the floggish behaviour in the background as Aaron Nunn's just wandered in the back stalls to try and pretend that he's doing work, but really all he's trying to do is interrupt us from our job. But we're professionals and we soldier on here on the Netball Show. Let's talk about Darley taking on Melton South, and a little bit of an upset result this one, Matty, with Darley getting over the line 41-27. What was a pretty good game of netball, and one that followed a similar blueprint to the earlier game. Burke, Rawnsley and Deutscher sharing the goals for Darley on the weekend, with Reese Carter-Coleman and Maria Tahi sharing for Melton South. Maybe Barry and Rawnsley the best players for Darley, where it was Ropati, Nikello and Carter-Coleman for Melton South, they're better players. And Melton South are maddeningly inconsistent, I think was the phrase that I'm using in the record this weekend. Just the way that they've been up for a fair bit this year. They've pushed, obviously, Melton, they've pushed Sunbury and they've won a couple of games, but then they drop games like this where you probably expect them that if they want to be fair dinkum and want to be a finals contender, that they win.
Yeah, it's looking as though if they obviously keep the way they're going, they're going to be way out of the finals. I think they're sitting third bottom of the ladder at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
So
Second bottom.
Really do need to start getting that consistency back to win these sort of games. But Darley, look out. That's a very impressive win by them, and they're now sitting, I think it's just out of the 6, so they're pushing on finals now. So that's something that after the first couple of rounds I didn't really see happening, but they've definitely turned that around, and they're looking like that could be a red hot finals contender for this year.
They are indeed. They've got a huge game this week that we'll talk about later in the show as well. Melton taking on North Ballarat City on the weekend, and of course North Ballarat City, the team that ended Melton's run last year, knocked them out of the finals. Little bit of a measure of revenge on the weekend. Melton getting the job done 57-35. Mel McCauley, 53 of Melton's 57 goals, absolutely dominating once again. Was one of their better players along with Brooke Thompson and Liz Birch. Some adjusted camera angles as our cameraman tries to take over everything, so don't know what he's doing, but it's okay because we've cut to a slide at this time anyway, so all we're seeing is a score overlay on the screen. Tony Nestor, 22 goals for Melton, and Gina McCartan, 13 for North City, I should say. Money's putting me off. Gina McCartan and Stacey McCartan amongst their better players, along with Emma Church. Fantastic work by Melton. Been flying under the radar before this. I dare say not anymore. They've got a major scalp now in North City, who have now lost their second game in a row.
Yeah, no, it's North City 2 in a row losses is definitely something they obviously wouldn't want, and something that after the first few rounds you wouldn't really expect. Looked like they were going to be a very strong side, and they're not saying they're not, but 2 losses in a row definitely doesn't help the confidence of the team. Melton, though, look, that's a fantastic win. Looks like the Macaulay and Thompson show is starting to be unstoppable. Obviously, such experience and fantastic players in the shooters and defence. And then mix that with Birch in the centre as well. It's a team that's really going to be hard to stop this year, and one that's definitely put themselves on the radar for the premiership.
I'll tell you how effective Mel McCauley's been this year. That the fact that she's solely their offence. We said it last week, she's responsible for over 90% of the total goals they've scored this year. Surely teams would just be able to double back on her, and every time it goes in, they put 2 on her. But she's just that good a player that she can absorb those double teams, still get the ball, and still shoot at an amazing clip. She was 85% shooting accuracy on the weekend, which just shows how strong Melton is. And I suppose a bit of a dependency on Mel, if you will. If Mel goes down with an injury, it could be a completely different story for the Bloods. But while she's up and going, keep feeding the hot hand, I say.
Yeah, no, exactly. She's such a fantastic player, and shows that when she gets double teamed, still has, I think it was 85% she shot on the weekend.
It was.
And she's still scoring that many goals for a team. It's fantastic, and if you could have more than 2 in the ring, I'm sure that teams would be putting an extra man back there to try and stop her.
Or an extra woman as well.
An extra woman, I should say. So, look, she's fantastic. If you can stop her, that's, I think, the key to winning as Melton.
It is, but it's proved to be a very difficult task so far this year. Sebastopol took on East Point on the weekend, and Sebastopol, like they did against Sunbury, jumped out to a lead at quarter time. There wasn't much in it at half time, and then the third quarter came along, and it was all she wrote. East Point 17 goals to 5 in the third quarter against the Borough on the weekend, setting them up for a 55-34 victory. Cindy Daniel 30 goals for East Point, Kate Martin 18 and Emma Ryan 7, with Georgia Can shooting 24 of the Borough's 34 goals, Erin Atherton the other 10. Better players for East Point: Emma Ryan, Kate Martin and Claire Blanchfield, and for Sebastopol, Rhiannon Banner, Libby Denuden and Georgia Can. Better players. Nunny gets a shout out for his office colleague in Rhiannon as well. But we said last week that it would have been a close game, but we couldn't tip Sebastopol with any confidence until they got over the line in a game like this. They haven't. They've now fallen back. They're now 2 games behind East Point in the 6th spot. They've really dealt their finals hopes a massive blow by losing that game last week. Yeah,
Sebastopol just really struggling to bring it against them top sides. They can play well sort of a couple of quarters, and they just really let themselves down, especially this one in the last half. It's obviously very disappointing for the team when they can be winning these games and should be really verging on a final spot. But now 2 games out, it's going to be very tough from here, and they've got obviously now Darley to compete with for that, to get in there
Darley
over East,
ahead of them.
And East obviously already in, which are a couple of games ahead. So it's going to be a long road for Spas to make the finals, but if they start winning games like this, then they should be right.
Yeah, exactly right. Full credit to East Point, though. They've been one of the teams that really to watch over the last couple of seasons. They were inches away from a grand final last year, and they probably not the same side this year, and they've had a few unavailabilities and injuries throughout the season, but they're starting to get their stuff together now, and I reckon if they can keep on this kind of route, big game for them this week, again, that we'll talk about later on. If they can keep winning, they're going to, I reckon, give themselves a real good shot once again at featuring at the business end of the season.
Yeah, no, exactly. They've nearly secured that 6th spot at the moment. I think that if they're going to go, anyone else going to be up, especially once they get their full squad back in for every week. They'll be hard to stop for most teams.
Speaking of the business end of the season, 2 teams that are looking to feature quite heavily in that are Lake Wendouree and Redan. Billed as the game of the round last week for 3 quarters. It did not disappoint. An absolutely fantastic game of netball. However, in the end, Redan pulling away in the third quarter, kept pulling away in the final quarter, and got the win and top spot on the ladder, winning 36-25. Emma Henry 23 goals and Ruby Parry 13 for Redan. Kat Bascan 19 goals for the Lakers, and James and Page 3 each as well. Better place for Redan: Peace, Elliott and Henry. And for Lake Wendouree, Molly Boyle, our guest from last week, came on the Netball Show, got best on court the next week. Something in that, girls, trust me. Emma Burton was in there as well, and also Romsey, Kirsty Walsh in their best players on the weekend. Really good game for 3 quarters. And then Redan broke it open. Just really relentless with the way that they moved the netball, relentless with their defence as well. They gave the shooters nothing, the Lakers shooters. They ended up breaking them down and ended up winning it quite well.
Yeah, Redan seem to be just winning these games. When the spotlight's on, Redan definitely play their best, I think. So, obviously, look, Lakers have started to play really well together. Obviously, a few new players, I think they're really starting to play well together as a team. They've sort of learned each other's game styles, and I thought they were going to be very, very hard to stop. But Redan showed that they are on the top of the ladder. So they deserve to be on the top of the ladder. A fantastic side, and they show that against Lakers with an impressive display on all areas of the court.
Let's have a look at the ladder this week as another member of the Peanut Gallery comes in to join us and try and distract us professionals, but it won't happen once again. Redan on top of the ladder this week, separated from Melton and Sunbury by percentage. Lake Wendouree in fourth with 24 points, but North Ballarat City also with 24 points and East Point in sixth spot. 20 points for the season. A game behind them is Darley in 7th. Another game back to Sebastian in 8th, and then Melton South and Bacchus Marsh. One win, 2 wins for Melton South, 1 win for Bacchus Marsh, and Ballarat rounding out the table. And thankfully we had a slide screen on throughout with that reading of the ladder, because I believe there was some camera manipulation going on by the flogs in the back stalls. But thankfully it didn't go back to the air. It's time to catch up with our special guest on the Netball Show this week. After the Lake Wendouree Redan game, we caught up with Redan defender Erin Riley out on the court. Here's what she had to say. We're here with Erin Riley from Redan after their victory over Lake Wendouree today. Erin, congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. It's a very good day.
Really good game as well. For the first 3 quarters, there were constant lead changes, and then it just seemed that you got the ascendancy in the last quarter and ran away with it a bit.
Yeah, it was pretty close all game. I actually didn't realise we were up by that much. It was very consistent from both teams and hard-fought battle.
Really strong defensively, Redan have been so far this year, with yourself and Amy Elliott in the backcourt. How have you found teaming with Amy so far this season?
Oh, it's amazing. Just her experience and knowledge of the court, the game, and just everything. It's really helped me this year and brought my netball a long way.
Emma Henry coming back into the side this year is giving you an extra boost as well. She's been fantastic at both ends of the court this season.
Yeah, she's very handy to come back. It was made me very happy when I heard that she was donning the maroon and gold again. So she's been very handy both ends, and it's good to see her dominating the court for us again.
A lot of familiarity between these two teams today against Lake Wendouree. A lot of players that you've played with in representative netball. How do you find it coming up against players that you're really familiar with?
It was interesting. I'm really not a fan of playing against people I know, but it's always enjoyable playing Lakers. They're such a lovely bunch of girls, and yeah, just make it fun to be out there. A bit of an extra urge to beat them and get bragging rights, I suppose.
You've set your season up now, halfway point in the season next year, and you'll turn just about on top of the ladder. Things looking really good going towards the business end of the season, so to speak.
Yeah, it is looking very well. We're just working week to week at the moment, and thankfully so far it's been going well. So hoping to build on what we've already done and keep a good position come finals time.
Is there one team in particular that you're finding that will be a big challenge towards the end of the year, or is it just that there's 4 or 5 teams that are really, really close this year?
Honestly, I haven't really thought about it all that much, but from what I have seen, it's very close. The top 5 or 6 are divided by percentage or a few games. So end of the day, it's just going to come down to percentage, I reckon. So everyone's a target this year. So yeah. See how we go. What
was Kate's message at the end of the game today?
Just very happy with our performance and the way we're going. Obviously there's a lot to improve on, and that we want to work together as a team on in the future to continue building and work our way towards September.
Well, Erin, thanks for joining us and good luck in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Shaun.
Erin Riley from Redan that we caught up with this week. Great to catch up with Erin, who plays this week against Sebas and then jets off overseas for a few weeks as well. So great to catch Erin when we did.
Yeah, no, she's going to be dearly missed by the Redan club. She's a fantastic player and good in for you as well, it turns out.
Yeah, even though she was as shy as a buggery about wanting to do it, we finally got her in to do it though, so it was great to see Erin on the screen. Let's have a look at this week's matches, starting with the game between East Point and Darley at the Eastern Oval, and this is a crucial game. As we said, East Point in 6th, Darley in 7th. There's only a game separating them at the moment. East Point know if they win this game and Redan then beat Sebastopol, that there becomes a 2-game gap from East Point from 6th to 7th and a 3-game gap back to Sebas, which means it's just about all over from the finals race if East Point can win this.
Yeah, no, so a very, very tough game for both teams. Obviously, wanting to secure that final spot, and for Darley to get in there, they really need to defeat East Point. They're the ones that they do need to overtake. So if they can get over East Point, it's looking good for Darley for the rest of the season. So they'll both be definitely coming to play this weekend.
It's been interesting to see Darley in the last couple of weeks because they've really improved as they've gone on throughout the season. They made comment earlier in the year about how they're undersized, especially going forward in the goals. They're really undersized, but they've used it to an advantage in the last couple of weeks. They've defeated Melton South. They gave North City a run a couple of weeks ago as well. They can give East Point a shake here.
Yeah, no, the good thing about them is they don't depend on just the one shooter like a Melton or something like that. So you can't really shut down their shooters because there's 3 of them on the weekend that all, I think, had just around 15 goals.
Yeah,
so
they all shared it evenly.
They're a very versatile team down in the shooting ring. So it's good to see. And look, it's a bit of the unknown for me with Darley. I think it will be for a few other sides as well. But how to stop them, I'm not too sure.
New addition to the Peanut Gallery as well. I think we're getting Snapchatted and photos taken and just running the media gauntlet while we're doing this as well. But we keep pushing on like the professionals that we are. Melton taking on Bacchus Marsh at McPherson Park on the weekend. And you'd think Melton would start this one as pretty strong favourites coming up against Bacchus Marsh, especially with the form that Mel McCauley and Brooke Thompson are in at the moment.
Yeah, no, look, Bacchus Marsh obviously having their first win last week. I don't think that even as much confidence they would have received from that win will prepare them enough for Melton's side, who are in such fantastic form. And as you said, Mel McCauley, Brooke Thompson, they're going to be very hard to stop. And I don't think that Bacchus Marsh are really going to put it up to them too much. But look, you never know what could happen. But I'm going to tip Melton very comfortably in this one. Yeah,
I think Melton as well. Obviously, Bacchus Marsh in that development stage at the moment, coming up against a very experienced side. And with the strength of Mel McCauley and the fact that Bacchus Marsh's defenders are very young, it's girls like Alicia Burgess and Taylor Drevensack that are really up and coming in defence. In 2-3 years' time, they're going to be extremely good A-grade players. But at this stage of their development, they're probably not going to hang with someone like Mel McCauley. So it'll be Melton quite easily this weekend. North Ballarat City taking on Melton South. Which Melton South's going to turn up? That is the question. Is it going to be the one that's run Sunbury and Melton throughout the season? Or is it going to be the one that's been reasonably downcast in recent weeks? And
A-grade team.
Unfortunately, we've just got some flogs in the background that aren't making our job easy at all, Matty. But North Ballarat City with 2 losses in a row as well, they'll be desperate to get back on the winners list here.
Yeah, no, I think that they should this week. Melton South, as you said, it depends if they're going to be showing that inconsistency they have throughout the year. But North Ballarat City, they do have such a strong side and so much depth in there that I think that they'll have a win this weekend. And look, Melton South, if they do come to play, as you said, which team's going to turn up? If they do come to play, it should be a very close game, but I'm going to tip North Ballarat City.
Last couple of weeks, Andrea Ty hasn't been playing for Melton South, and that's been a real, I suppose, disadvantage for them. She's a fantastic shooter. She's in the Victoria Flame side in the ANL at the moment. She really makes a difference when she's on the court for Melton South. If she can come and play this week, I reckon Melton South are a real chance. But again, they're just too unknown. We know how desperate North City are to get back on this winners list. So heading with North City in this one as well. Redan taking on Sebastopol at the City Oval on Saturday. Redan absolutely flying at the moment. Sebast got a little bit of work to do. They'll be keen to see how they measure up against the ladder leaders this Saturday, Matty.
Yeah, look, they'll come out fine, I think, Sebast. Like they always do, have a very good first quarter, and they can be up at the first quarter and then happen to sort of throw it away. But look, if they can play the 4 quarters consistently and keep that first quarter going on, then they will be in with a real shot against Redan. But Redan, obviously, top of the ladder, very strong side, and I think they'll they'll win this one with ease, I think.
I've got nothing but good things to say on Redan about the show this week, mainly because every time I do say anything about Redan, the girls tend to take it quite personally in some circumstances. Ruby Parry absolutely gave me a spray last week when she said, "What are you doing here? Why didn't you tip us? We're going to show you," all this kind of stuff. I think there's even some middle fingers thrown my way at some stage as well. It's just not a pleasing experience at all.
Fair
but
enough.
In all seriousness, Redan, extremely talented side. At one stage, they fielded a side last week where all 7 girls on the court had played representative netball with the BFL within the last 18 months. So really, really strong side all throughout the court, and you'd think that strength is going to get them over the line against Sebastopol this weekend.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Last game of the round, Lake Wendouree taking on Sunbury at the Wendouree Reserve. This is going to be another absolute ripper. Lake Wendouree just shown to be found a little bit wanting last week up against the Sunbury side, who are coming off the bye, and of course, of the reigning premiers. There's going to be no love lost in this one, Matty. Should be a very interesting game.
Yeah, no, look, Sunbury were I thought they'd be at the top of the ladder at this stage in the of the season. I think many people did as well. So they'll be looking to get right back up there. They're sitting 3rd at the moment. So
They're equal top, so they're not too far
equal
from
top, but further on the ladder, mate. That's what counts. That's what they'll be looking at. So they want to climb up that ladder and get on the top where I do think that they do belong. They're a very fantastic side, and I think they are at the moment the best team in the competition. But look, I think I might be proven wrong this weekend, which you never know. But I am going to tip Sunbury.
These guys are getting you. You've just gone on a big spiel about how Sunbury's the best team in the league, and then all of a sudden you thought, no, I might be proven wrong in a minute.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns, mate.
There you go. You've got the advice from the suckers in the back seats. So going to be a very interesting game. Of course, Lake Wendouree a little bit hamstrung last week. They only had the one bench rotation to use. They didn't have Jackie Clifton there as a defensive rotation as well. So that really hurt them. If they can get those couple extra rotations in there, coming up against the Sunbury side, we know how strong Sophie Gunn is in goals. But even if she doesn't play, they've found some extra avenues with the way Ruth Smith and Emily as a party have teamed up within the goals when Sophie hasn't been there has been really impressive and gives them a different look rather than having Sophie, who is obviously tall, very accurate shooter and everything like that. Ruth and Emily that are very mobile, they keep moving, they keep trying to throw off defenders left, right and centre. It's a really interesting dynamic. I'm tipping Sunbury in this one. I'm not all that confident because I know how good the Lakers side are when they're up and going, but I just feel that Sunbury, with that week off, a chance to get their ducks in order, they'll get this one and they'll get it pretty well on the weekend.
Quack.
That's a Netball Show for another week. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to you for putting up with all the foolishness going on in the background. No thanks at all to the flogs in the background trying to make our life difficult and providing the soundtrack for this week's show. Thanks to you, Matty. I don't know how you put up with this, but you've told it on beautifully.
Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure.
It is indeed, and it's always a pleasure to see you on the BFNL Netball Show. We'll be back next week with more action from around the courts. We'll see you then.